the other thing that the discussion. We okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. I was telling you, and I told you before, that for many years in India, for hundreds of years, they only taught Mishkaat Sharif as a final book of hadith. Because Mishkaat Sharif is such an comprehensive book of hadith. Mishkaat Sharif is such a comprehensive book of hadith that remember you got in your Mishkaat Sharif, you've got 14 books and more, and the Sita is in there. And remember the same discussions that will come in Mishkaat Sharif, exact same. Because remember is one different Sharia. So the same in Kitab al-Taharat. Just now. So I was telling you the same discussions that come in Mishkat Sharif, it will come in Bukhari. There will be some extra because remember, Bukhari Sharif is a Jami, right? It has the Jami means it has 8 different chapters, right? So I promise you, this is not just because you're staying absent, whatever. But I promise you, if you study your Mishkat Sharif well, you'll see when you come to say Sita, you're gonna be doing in a normal Darul Ulum. When you come to final year, you do about 8 books or 9 books. You do Muwatta Imam Malik. You do your Hanafi, they do Muwatta Imam Muhammad also with it. So you're doing 8 books, 9 books. So there is no time for you to try to understand all the discussions, the fiqh ikhtilafat that you're doing in Kitab al-Tahara, that you're doing Kitab al-Buyu. If you do that already, you do it in Hidayah Sharif already. And then when you come to those kitab, you can just fly through it. You can just fly through it. So what I'm saying to you is if you study your Mishkat Sharif well, discussions in Mishkat Sharif, when you come to the final year, when you come to say Sita, it will be much, much more easier for you. It will be much, but you stay everything. When you come to say Sita, it's going to be too much for you to digest. It's going to be too much for you to digest. And we're going to try our best, inshallah, to try to wrap up Mishkat Sharif this year. We don't wrap it up during the year. We have to do night classes. Next year, we want to get you people onto the say Sita, inshallah, say inshallah. But you also have to play the game. You have to be on time. You can't be telling us you fell asleep, ya Allah, and you've overslept, ya Allah. How can you oversleep? So, if you got something on your mind, I told you when I got something on my mind, I can't oversleep. Automatically, my mind starts 5 minutes before the time. My mind starts working that I have to wake up at a certain time. So, you have to be serious. If you're going to miss out important discussions in your Mashkar Sharif, it's tough for luck for you. You're going to lose out. Anyway, let's start the lesson, inshallah. Bismillah, tafaddal. Okay, okay, stop there. Just another thing I want to tell you. Remember, I told you the hadith is one. It's all the words of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So if you study Mishkat properly, you make mutala properly of Mishkat, and you check the difficult words, I guarantee you, if you learn all the words in Mishkat Sharif, ne, then when you come to say Sita, there'll be very, very few words that you don't know. Because most of it is already covered here. Remember what was Khatib Tabrizi's idea when he compiled this kitab? His idea was to what's the right word in English? To relieve you of studying so many kitabs. His idea was that you must study one kitab, and when you study one kitab, then you cover all the kitabs one time. Remember, I told you that Jami ul Usul of the Athir, he took say Sitta and he put all the riwayat together and he took out the Mukarrarat. Right? That is Mishkat Sharif. Because Mishkat Sharif never takes six books. Mishkat Sharif took 14 books and he put it together and he took all the repetitions out. So when you study Mishkat Sharif, you are effectively studying 14. There's only one book that got more than this. Certain madrasas they teach it, and it is targhib wa tarhib. I bought 3 copies. It's supposed to be there. I never still get missing. The other kitabs all can they grow legs and they walk. I invested 4,000 rand. I bought three sets of Targhib wa Tarhib. That is the only book that got more revised in Mishkat Sharif, Targhib wa Tarhib. And as I said, my wish was to teach it also, but as you can see, we're battling around Mishkat. Where is the context Targhib? Mufti Hussain Kadauja from Durban, he knows the kitabs in and out. Probably maybe he was 1 year below me in Azad when I was there. I don't think maybe I can say for certainty in the whole world, the Hanafi books, he's one of the, in the whole world, not only South Africa, he knows the Hanafi books. Nobody knows the books better than him. He told me that Tukia, in Targhib and Tarhib, there are few riwayat, not many. There are few riwayat that's found there. It's not found in Mishkat Sharif and it's not found in Sayyid that even if you start a off Mishkat Sharif, like in the different Abwab, you got a few riwayat there, and you won't find it in Mishkat Sharif, and you won't find it in Saysita. So he said that if you know somebody that knows Mishkat Sharif well, and he knows the Saysita well, so what he can do is he can just teach it, and you don't have to teach all those riwayat that come in Mishkat Sharif. You know, to teach riwayat that come in Saysita, he must just teach you those riwayat that are not in there. You understand what I'm saying? You don't have to redo it again for another time. So if you do your Riyadh Salihin well, that's also taken from different kitabs, and you learn it properly, and you do your Mishkat Sharif properly, I promise you, 75% of the work for Sayyista is done. 75% of the work of Sayyista is done. Anyway, Bismillah, tafadhal, read, inshallah. Oh, you read already. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we were still discussing the virtue of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Remember the Bab original was there. The virtue of Rasul. What was the heading there? Yeah. Babu Fadaili Sayyidil Mursaleen. عن ابن عباس قال إن الله فضل محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم على الأنبياء, that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave virtue, or rather Allah Ta'ala gave virtue to Muhammad upon all the Anbiya, وعلى أهل السماء, and even the people of the sky, the inhabitants of the sky. Remember we told you, from amongst the angels and the human beings, the Akabir is more virtuous than the Akabir. From the angels and the human beings, you can say the common one is more virtuous of the humans. Like the good average Muslim is more virtuous than the average angel, right? فقالوا يا ابن عباس بما فضل الله على أهل السماء. So the Sahaba Ikram that narrated this riwayat, or rather, Ibn Abbas narrated this riwayat to the Sahaba Ikram. So the Sahaba Ikram said, فقالوا يا ابن عباس بما فضل الله على أهل السماء. with what did Allah Ta'ala give virtue to Muhammad over the people of the sky? Why is he more virtuous? قال إن الله تعالى قال لأهل السماء. So he said, look here, listen carefully. See how Allah Ta'ala addressed the people of the sky. Listen, he said, وَمَنْ يَقُلْ مِنْهُمْ إِنِّي إِلَهٌ فَذَلِكَ من دونه فذلك نجزيه جهنم كذلك نجزي الظالمين. Listen to the translation properly. And whoever says from amongst them, يعني from the people of the sky, إِنِّي إِلَهٌ, I am a God, min dunihi, not Allah Ta'ala, right? فَذَلِكَ نَجْزِيهِ, that person, we will pay with Jahannam. كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الظَّالِمِينَ, like that we reward the oppressors, right? So see how Allah Ta'ala speaks to the people of the skies. See what harsh words he says. That if anyone from the people of the skies, they claim they are our Lord, they claim they are Rabb, then we will punish them. Jahannam will be for them. كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الظَّالِمِينَ. This is how he speaks to the people of the skies, and see how he spoke to his beloved. وَقَالَ اللَّهُ تعالى, and Allah Ta'ala spoke to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, إِنَّا فَتَحْنَا لَكَ فَتْحًا مُبِينًا, verily we have granted you a clear victory, right? لِيَغْفِرَ لَكَ اللَّهُ, so that Allah Ta'ala may forgive you, right? مَا تَقَدَّمَ, what you sent forth, مِنْ ذَنْبِكَ, from your sins, وَمَا تَأَخَّرَ, right? And what you done in the past, right? So in other words, he's saying, you know, from the way a person addresses another person, you can see what type of respect that person have. Simple example to understand is, maybe there's a student that commits the same crime every time. Every time he commits the same crime. So now that comes and teacher, what's wrong with you, man? Every time you're doing this here, I spoke to you so many times. You got no ears, you got potatoes. What is wrong with you? All right? Because the student is committing the same crime every time. Are you with me? And then once you get a good student, right? And he hardly committed crime. He hardly committed crime. So now he committed a crime. How will the teacher speak to him? Hey, how are you? Where were you? What happened? You were sick. Okay, you're sick. No problem. Allah Ta'ala give you shifa. Because he knows that this person doesn't commit this crime, and he will speak to him respectfully. So this is what he's saying here. See how Allah Ta'ala spoke to the people of the skies in such harsh terms. If you do anything wrong, if you claim divinity and you do something wrong, then we're going to give you Jahannam, right? And see with what loving tone he speaks to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that we granted you a clear, open victory, so that Allah must forgive you whatever mistakes you made. So he said, look at the tone at which he addresses the people of the sky, and look at the tone at which he addresses the people of the earth, right? Then he says, so they say, وَمَا فَضَّلَهُ عَلَى الْأَنْبِيَاءِ. Okay, and with what did he give virtue the people of with what did he give virtue to يعني to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam upon the rest of the Anbiya? قال الله تعالى. So Ibn Abbas says, the Anbiya says, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا بِلِسَانِ قَوْمِهِ لِيُبَيِّنَ لَهُم. That Allah Ta'ala says, we did not send any prophet except in the language of his people. So لِيُبَيِّنَ لَهُم, so he must explain to them. In other words, what he's saying, every people, every nation had their own prophet. Every nation has their own designated prophet. I told you previously the prophets were area specific, they were language specific, they were location specific, right? But Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? Uh, لِيُبَيِّنَ لَهُمْ فَيُضِلُّ مَن يَشَاءُ, right? And to the end of the verse, so it's with their own language. So Allah Ta'ala, فَيُضِلُّ اللَّهُ مَن يَشَاءُ, He must guide who He wants to, He guides who He wants to. But see what He done with Rasul. وقال الله تعالى لمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. But Allah Ta'ala said with regards to Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا كَافَةً لِلنَّاسِ. We did not send you except completely to all the people. فَأَرْسَلَهُ إِلَى الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ. He sent him towards the jinn and he sent them towards the ins. So in other words, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a universal prophet. He was not a time specific, location specific prophet, right? So I was telling you, this Quran people, some of them they say that no, hadith was only for the time, in the time of Nabi Sallallahu, because they heard it directly from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, so they could practice upon it. But we are so far from Rasulullah Sallallahu, it might have been adulterated, interpolated with the passage of time. So here's our answer. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا كَافَةً لِلنَّاسِ بَشِيرًا وَنَذِيرًا. Is there no reference there in your book for this riwayat? Is there a reference? Huh? Now speak about the actual hadith, the takhrij of the hadith. Nothing. Okay, read the next one, Ismail.
عن أبي رافع الشاذلي الأنصاري رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قلت يا رسول الله كيف علمت أنك مسلم حتى أشهد طيب طيب كنت قال الذي الثاني ملكان أنا لبعض أصحابي حتى أشهد وقع أحدهما عن قلبي الثاني الأخ بين السماء والأرض قال أحدهما لصاحبه وهو هو أنا منكم قال فديني برجل
Okay, this hadith is a very interesting hadith. Um, You know, recently there was a clip going around also where this guy claimed he's a Mahdi. I know people saw it. Bangladeshi guy, you saw it. And now again, there was another one again. I saw now the other day. There was a guy he's claiming he's the Mahdi and he's calling Isa is Salam, whatever, whatever. So let's look at this hadith. One Abi Dharin al-Ghifari. So this, although the primary message of the hadith is that okay, let me read first. We explain. Narrate the authority of Abi Dhar al-Ghifari. Remember, this was said that Zahid Sahabi, that he felt that you must only have enough for you to love. If you have anything extra of the dunya, then you are wrong. قال قلت يا رسول I said يا رسول كيف علمت أنك نبي حتى استيقنت. How did you know that you are a Nabi until you are certain? Like, maybe it could be a shaitan that came to you, he tried to deceive you. Like how, I told you the story about Abdul Qadir al-Jailani. The shaitan came to him and said to him that now you don't have to worship Allah Ta'ala, you worship Allah Ta'ala enough and all that type of thing. Maybe shaitan came to us and whisper in your ear, أنك النبي حتى استيقنت. فقال يا أبا ذر. Um, Also, on that point, also, while from my own side, on the end, remember you done also in Qasas part 5 that when Jibreel Amin came for the first time to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, "Iqra." He said, "Ma ana biqari'in." So obviously, this was something new to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? And Hazrat Khadija said, "Kalla la yughzika Allah abada." So there's many things you can learn from this. One is the support of the wife, etc. She's supposed to be waking you up and saying you to Marissa, not cutting the call and say, "Go sleep, Baba. Baba, you sleep. Don't worry. I'll sort it out. I will cut the call for you. You sleep away." She's supposed to be supporting you in your haq. She's supposed to be supporting your haq. But anyway, there's a side note. But the main point I want to make to you is this here. Look here. The easy way to recognize if somebody makes a claim like, "Yeah, Rasulullah also made a claim." Why hasn't Khadija immediately she supported him his claim? She never told me, "Are you dreaming? Are you mad? Can you be a Nabi? Can you be a prophet? Are you hallucinating? Or you losing your mind? Or what's wrong with you? How can you be a prophet? Maybe you're going delusional or you're losing your mind or something." Why she never done that? Why she immediately accepted when he said, "I saw a angel." And she said, although she never accepted, she was not sure. She was not sure. You never say you're a prophet, but she never say, "Hey, you're losing it. Are you going tati? Are you going mad?" She said, "Look here, you are an honest person. You are an uprighteous person." Like she said, لا تخزيك العبد إنك تصل الرحم وتعين على نوائب الحق وتقرئ الضيف, etc. You help the downtrodden. You join family ties. You assist the people, etc., etc. So so she knew that, look here, a person that is good person, a person that is close to Allah Ta'ala, he won't do stupid things. He won't do funny things, or funny things won't happen to him. You understand what I'm saying? You see the link, the point I'm trying to, the rub that she saw that, look at this. My husband is not a stupid person, he's not a funny person. He's a good person, a God-fearing person. He's an honorable person. So Allah Ta'ala won't let something stupid happen to him. Shaitan won't come to him, or Shaitan won't influence him, or something like that. So you see the point I'm trying to make. What an intelligent person she was, Hazrat Khadija radiallahu ta'ala. That she said, no, that you are a good person. Allah Ta'ala won't just, now we're going from one thing to the other thing. But the point I'm trying to make is, you see how, although initially, remember, Nabi Sallam was confused initially. He was very, very, because something new. That's why Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, Inna aradna al-amanata ala samawati al-ardi فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقنا منها وحمل الإنسان. Allah Ta'ala presented the trust of the Quran on the mountains. And obviously the Quran means the whole Sharia, Islam. فأبين أن يحملنها, it refused. وأشفقنا منها, feared. وحملها الإنسان, but Insan stood up and took the responsibility. And Insan said, okay, we will take this responsibility. Right? ألست بربكم قالوا بلى شهدنا. So it's not easy. It was not smooth sailing. It was very difficult. Very difficult. That's why you also done, remember, in Qasas part 5, initially Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam wanted to throw himself off the mountain. Remember, when Jibreel came and then he never come for a long time and then he was confused, etc. Right? So so it wasn't a smooth sailing also. But anyway, that's why Nabi was confused initially. But anyway, he said, Ya Abu Dhar atani malakani. Ya Abu Dhar, two angels came to me. وأنا ببعض بطحاء مكة. I was in some of the valleys of Makkah. فوقع أحدهما الأرض. One of them stood on the ground. وكان آخر بين السماء والأرض. The other one is between the sky and the earth. فقال أحدهما لصاحبه. Then the one said to his companion, right? Ahua, like I said, is he the one? Like, ahua, like I was telling you about somebody. I said there's a certain person, he can do this, he can do that. So now is he the one? Is this the one you were speaking about? Is this the one you were speaking about? Said, ahua, is this the one you were speaking about? Right? Right. قال نعم. Yes, this is the one. فزنه. This wazana yazinu, amar of zin, fazinu. It means weigh him. But in this context, weigh him doesn't mean weigh him. Explain his worth. Remember this. Wazana yazinu means zin, weigh him. But in this context, what it means? Explain his worth. Is this the chosen prophet? Is this the final prophet? Explain his worth, right? So he says, قال فزنه برجل. Explain his worth in the relation to an ordinary man. قال فوزنت به. I weighed him. I compared to him به, a normal man to him. Right? فوزنته. Right? Sorry, I read wrong. فوزنت به. As Nabi Sallam is saying. فوزنت. Then I was compared to به, to a normal man. What Nabi Sallam is saying? فوزنت به. I was compared to a normal man. فوزنت به. Right? فوزنته. And I overpowered him. I overpowered a normal man. That is worth by plenty. قال زنه بعشرة. Then the angel said, okay, weigh him, compare him to 10 people of virtue. قال فوزنت بهم. I was weighed more, I was worth more than them. فرجحتهم. Right? فرجحتهم. I was رجحت. In this, رجح means to prefer, but in this context it means I overpowered all them. قال ثم قال زنه بمئة. Okay, compare him to 100 people. فوزنت بهم. I was compared to them. فرجحتهم. And I also overpowered them. ثم قال زنه بألف. Okay, compare him to 1,000 people. فوزنت بهم. I was compared to them. فرجحتهم. Then I also overpowered them. I was greater in worth than them. So he says, كأني أنظر إليهم. As though I am looking at them and I can see them. ينتثرون علي من خفة الميزان. So as though they are looking or they are shaking because of the khifa, the weight of the scale. قال, this Nabi Sallallahu قال أحدهما, the one said لصاحبي, for the other one, لو وزنته, if you were to weigh him بأمته or compare him against his entire ummah, la rajahaha, you'd overpower them, he would be more worthy than them. Rawahum ad-Darami. Imam Darami narrates this particular riwayat. Okay, I remember I told you that always try to see what the hadith is saying. Always try to see what the hadith is saying. What does this hadith saying? The hadith is saying that, Ya Rasulullah, how did you know you are prophet? So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is saying that the angel came and he explained my worth. Angel came and he explained my worth. that I am more worthy or I'm more valuable than my entire ummah, right? No. So that's the main thrust of the hadith, that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam is more worth than his entire ummah. That's the main, what you call it, the message of the hadith, right? That the virtue, right? Sorry, I'm just got distracted there. So what the hadith is saying is that how did Nabi Sallallahu know he's a Nabi? That his value was explained to be more than entire ummah, right? Right. That is the main message in the hadith, right? And then what I want to say is that this was not the only sign, although this hadith explains this to be like the sign by which Nabi Sallallahu recognized the Prophet, but it was not the only sign. It was not. There were many signs. There were many signs. Like I told you, that as Jibril, I mean, he hugged him and he said, Iqra, and he said, Ma'ana biqari'in. Then look here, Ismail, in the beginning of Mishkaat, we done so many hadiths where the angels came and they spoke to each other and said, explain the example of this person. Then they said, no, he's like like, a host. He prepares a feast. And then he calls people to invite them to the feast. To those who answer them, they will eat from the feast. Those who don't answer, they will not eat from the feast. I'm not sure how far you by Mazin. Maybe you covered this. You covered it already? Then those who responded, they will eat from there. Those who never responded, they won't eat. And he said that the house is Allah Ta'ala and Nabi Sallallahu is the da'i and Jannat is the tablecloth, etc., etc. Remember? So what I'm saying is it was not just based on one incident or one episode that Nabi Sallallahu was convinced he was an enemy. Several things happened. And also remember, Qasas part 5 also you put down that Khadija's cousin, Waraqat ibn Nawfal, so she went to him and said, قد جاءك الناموس الأكبر الذي جاء موسى. Remember that? Forgot it? I know it from 25 years ago. جاءك الناموس الأكبر الذي جاء موسى. The great archangel Gabriel came to the same way that came to Musa alayhi salam. Remember? So there are many things that also that what you call it, that convinced Nabi Sallallahu that is a prophet, the endorsement of Warqat bin Nawfal, the different dreams that I told you, and then Saint Jibreel in his form, etc., etc. Right? But that is by the way. But the main thing is just the virtue of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He is after Allah Ta'ala is the greatest person, and of all mankind, or his ummah is put together, they cannot compare to him. Right? Are you with me? You check. You Yeah. So كأني أنظر إليهم ينتثرون علي من خفة الميزان. As though I'm looking at them, they are scattering upon me from the likeness of the scale. So here Nabi Sam is speaking about the rest of the ummah. They are so they're like nothing compared to him, right? Okay, read the next hadith. اوكي بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وعن ابن عباس قال رسول الله كتب علي النحر ولم يكتب عليكم وأمرت بصلاة الضحى ولم تؤمر بها. رواه الدارقطني. Interesting hadith. Nabi Sallallahu is speaking about his virtue that he have, which the rest of the ummah or if the rest of mankind do not have. The right now authority of the Abbas, he said, the Rasul said that Nahr here referred to Nahr means to slaughter, né? And we know here what it refers to Qurbani, Udhiyah. Kutiba alaya Nahru. So what is meant by this here? We know if you look at the literal translations, that Qurbani Udhiyah has been made mandatory upon me. So what is meant by this? Yeah, we know if you have Zakat Nisab on the morning of Eid al-Adha, then also it becomes compulsory upon you to slaughter, isn't it? But what Nabi Sallallahu means here is just that whether I have wealth or not, whether I'm rich or poor, still I have to make Udhiyah. Unlike you only have to do it when if you have that nisab, right? Then the second thing is Nabi Sallallahu said, "Walam yuqtab alaykum." Right? In other words, it's not mandatory upon you under all circumstances. Right? Then I've been commanded to perform Salatul Duha. For you, my ummah, Salatul Duha is sunnat. But for me, it is compulsory. But at least once in my lifetime, I have to read Salatul Duha, right? وأمرت بصلاة الضحى ولم تؤمروا بها. You have not been commanded with it. Rawahu Darukutni. Darukutni narrates that particular ayat, right? Okay, so Alhamdulillah, that brings us to the end of that chapter there. Another nice, interesting chapter we're going to do now. Babu Asma'in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam wa Sifatihi. The chapter of the names of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam wa Sifatihi and his description. Are you with me? You got the same heading there? So if you look at this heading here, it comprises of two parts, right? One is the names of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and the second is what we say sifat. Sifat means the description of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now the interesting thing here is, when we speak about the sifat of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we're not speaking about his shama'il. Shama'il, one is, look at me, one is khuluq and one is khalaq, right? Khuluq refer to husnul khuluq, your shama'il, your good qualities, like patience, forbearance, qana'at, all that type of thing. That's why this you will do inshallah ta'ala. This called Shama'il Tirmidhi. Part of the Tirmidhi Sharif. There's another small book at the end called Shama'il Tirmidhi. We'll start you with that maybe soon, inshallah. Shama'il Tirmidhi, where you do the all the descriptions of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? So, yeah, we're not speaking about that. Here we're speaking about his physical features. We speak about his khalq, not his khuluq. What we speak about his khalq, not his khuluq, which is also called hulya, the hulya mubarak, physical description. So the hulya mubarak will be discussed. Then after that, inshallah, we will discuss the akhlaq of Rasulullah will come after us. So if you look at it, the names of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam are more or less 100 names, which is known by. But the name that he remembered Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's father passed away before he was born, right? So his grandfather Abdul Muttalib gave him a name. So the name that his grandfather chose for him, Abdul Muttalib, was Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So I mentioned this to you before. In our deen, amongst this ummah, he was known as Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? But if you look at the Kutubi Samawiyah, even in that Binabiin Ismuhu Ahmad. Remember that surah in the 27th para? Isa alayhi salam spoke about the Nabi, his name will be Ahmad, remember? So even so in the Injil, in the Torah, etc., etc., he was referred to as Ahmad, right? Are you with me? And he has also mentioned that in the skies and amongst the angels, his name is Ahmad. The interesting fact here is they say that the name Muhammad, it was very rarely, or if not found at all amongst the Arabs. And I read somewhere, Allah Ta'ala purposefully, He concealed this name from the creation so that it be reserved for Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So there was not a custom to keep this name amongst them. In fact, it's mentioned, then this was such a, I told you, certain communities, they like certain names. That's why you see amongst the Indian people, they keep a certain name. You see the Malay people, they keep they keep the certain names. Different communities, they like different names. So this was like a strange name amongst the Arabs. To such an extent that when Abdul Muttalib kept this name for his grandson Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, said, What a strange name. Why are you keeping this strange name? And he said, I wish that this, because he was very fond of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Because remember, because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was like an orphan now, he lost his father, etc., etc. So obviously he was extra fond of him. So he said, I wish that this child of mine will be praised in the entire world. You will become Mahmoud, like the Ismul Maf'ul of uh, Hamida Yahmadu, Hamid for Mahmudun. You will become Mahmoud in the whole world. وضم الإله اسم وضم الله اسم النبي باسمه إذ قال في الخمس المؤذن أشهد فشق له من اسمه لي 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 ليجله فذو العرش محمود وهذا محمد. Right. So Allah Ta'ala is saying Allah Ta'ala joined his name to the name of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, or rather joined Nabi Sallallahu name to his name. Interesting fact, yeah. Throughout history, it is only known that 7 people kept their children's name Muhammad. And here is also it's mentioned that these 7 people that kept their children's name Muhammad, they were probably scholars, and they done this in anticipation that the child will be the last prophet. Because it is mentioned, I tell you, mostly his name is Ahmad, but certain scriptures, Muhammad is also mentioned. Muhammadun Sayyidul Qawnayn wa Thaqalayn wal Fariqayn min Arabi wa min Ajabin. So from this chapter, Fadailu Sayyidil Mursaleen, right till Manaqib Quraysh will come, the virtue of the tribe of Quraysh. Inshallah, there will be a lot of detail with regard to the Fazail of Nabi Sallallahu. Right now, let's look at the first riwayat, inshallah. Just let's start for the barakat, inshallah. Al-Fasl Awal. Yeah, inna li asma'an wa asma'an because it's the ism of inna. يحشر الناس سبحان الله. وعن جبير بن مطعم narrating authority of Jubair ibn Mut'im, he said قال سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, I heard Nabi sallallahu يقول saying إن لي أسماء, verily for me are names. I have many names, right? أنا محمد, I'm Muhammad. وأنا أحمد, I'm Ahmad. وعلى الماحي, محا يمحو comes the Quran. محا يمحو means to wipe out something, to clean something, to expiate something. So I'm the one who will wipe out. أنا الماحي الذي, I'm the one who wipe الذي يمحو الله به الكفر, the one that will wipe out kufr. I will wipe out kufr. وأنا الحاشر, حشر يحشر حاشر, the one who will gather. الذي يحشر الناس على قدمي, I'm the one who the people will be gathered at my feet, right? وأنا العاقب, عاقب means last. ولله عاقبة الأمور, والعاقب الذي ليس بعده نبي. عاقب is the one that after him there is no Nabi. متفق عليه, there's a متفق عليه riwayat. So it's here, يقول إن لي أسمعا, What Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, I have several names. And obviously, all of these names of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they indicate some praise to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So that obviously, if the more names of praise shows more, he had more good qualities in him. You understand what I'm saying? If a person has more names that have negative connotations, then it's a bad reflection on the person, right? If you call him a smoker, a poker, a this, a that, negative names means negative connotation. So more positive names means more virtue. I tell you the official name that was given was Muhammad Sallallahu. So what is your name? So what is your name? This is your name. And all these other, so to say, names, they are what we say sifati names. They indicate more to qualities of Rasulullah Sallallahu. Like Mahi is not a name. It's a quality of Rasulullah Sallallahu. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, Ismail. If I say Ismail, the Jigaleza driver or the taxi driver. So is that your name? Taxi driver is not your name. What is a quality, is a sifat of yours. But your name is Ismail Akardin. What does it mean? Akardin. Huh? Akhiruddin. Oh, mashallah. It's the Arabic word. So that's saying you're saying Ismail Akardin قائد السيارة or سائق السيارة. So سائق السيارة, the driver of the car or the taxi, whatever, that's not your name. That is what you say your quality is like a sifat. So yeah, I say when Nabi Sallallahu said he has so many names that refer to his qualities, his sifat. I tell you, Mahi Yamhullah, he's the one who will efface kufr. And eventually Nabi Sallallahu message will reach its culmination with the advent of the Mahdi Isa, because then the whole world will be Muslim, right? Hashir, the one who gathers. One explanation is he's the first one that will come out of the grave, and then people will gather at his feet. Al-Aqib, here's another clear proof against the Qadianis that claim that Mirza Ghulam Ahmad was a Zilli, Buruzi prophet, etc. Clear proof, right? That he's the last prophet. He's Khatamun Nabeen. When Nabi Isa comes, he will not come as a prophet. Maybe like how the easy way to understand this, just look at me 1 second. You see, they try to, the Qadianis, they say, look here, you say that no prophet will come after Nabi Sallallahu. Isn't you believe in although they don't believe in the second coming of Isa alayhi salam. They believe Mirza Ghulam Muhammad was a manifestation of Isa alayhi salam. So say, isn't you believe Isa alayhi salam will come? To see the prophet will come after Nabi Sallallahu. I give you an easy way to explain this. See, if you got the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, they call him Cupcake, isn't it? His nickname is Cupcake. If Cupcake goes to America, right? When he's in America, is he the president of America? No. In America, what is he? He's just a foreign delegate. But intrinsically, he's still a president. Whereas in America, he's still the president of South Africa, but he's not the president of America. But for that moment, he loses his president status. You understand what I'm saying? So same thing. When Isa alayhi salam come to this ummah, he's still a Nabi. It's not that Allah Ta'ala is going to strip him of his nubuwwat. Allah Ta'ala is not going to strip him. He's still a Nabi. But here he's come in his capacity as a ummati of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Can we stop there? We're going to start with the tafsir, inshallah.